everybody. Welcome to Be Bold Branding. I'm Tanya Eberhardt, founder of BrandFace, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs differentiate themselves, and we do that through personal branding.
Hi, folks. My name is Michael Carr. I'm the COO of BrandFace. I was a client before I became a partner in the company. We're the only comprehensive personal brand building system across the globe, and we do these Be Bold podcasts here to help you take the fear out of putting yourself out there. We've got a great program for you today.
Yes, we do. And we have an awesome guest for you today, too. We've actually been lucky enough to be on his podcast in the past. His name is Scott Hudspeth, and I'm going to tell you just a little bit about Scott real quick. Scott is the author of A Millionaire Loan Officer and Agent Mastermind. His career began as a loan officer in 2003, where he quickly soared to a top closer, closing up to 10 loans a month by his fourth month in business. Within just 2 years in his profession, Scott was at the top of his game, closing 25 million in closed loans annually. At one time, he closed 42 loans in a single month. So today, Scott is the founder of Agent Mastermind, the #1 realtor growth system in the nation for loan officers and branch managers. Agent Mastermind was created to help loan officers create, keep, and grow new realtor relationships and close even more loans, and they train agents for you. Today, Scott will talk about his own bold strategies that have helped catapult him to success and created a business that helps those loan officers turn jobs into real careers. So Scott remains dedicated to one philosophy, which Michael and I absolutely love. He says, helping people to realize they are worthy of so much more. Stay focused on what really matters and help them to achieve their short and long-term goals, dreams, and desires is the only reward needed in life. What an open. Welcome, Scott Hudspeth.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Michael. Honored beyond belief to be here, and I appreciate what you guys are doing for the industry. And it's just your niche is just, it's very special and very needed in our industry. So, and I'm excited to have you guys back on to my class on Agent Mastermind. So thanks again for having me here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You're so welcome.
To do it. Hey, listen, Scott, let's jump right in right here. You know, we do this, we actually used to call it Fearless Friday. We changed it to Be Bold Branding, I guess about 6 months ago, because we just, part of our signature series is that, you know, but it's still based upon overcoming certain fears. So one of our main questions we ask our people when they come on is, what is the one fear that you've had to overcome, a big one, like maybe personally or in business or professionally, and then how did you do it?
So the big one that if I could stress anybody to push through the fears, you know, break through before you break down, is those darn dreaded phone calls, the picking up that phone and making those calls and having conversations, not just having conversations, but making sure when you have these conversations that you're asking for the business and you're talking to somebody that can be a potential referral partner or a potential past client, or is a past client rather, that could and will give you business if you ask for it. So it's one thing to make the call, and it's easy to make those calls, but it's a second thing to ask for the business. So I've just found that nothing bad happens. I'm still alive, and I've been doing it for many, many, many years. Nobody's threatened me or anything like that from making those cold calls, or, you know, to get to where I talk to enough people per day that turns into a result that has to do with either a closed loan or a new relationship. And that's the one thing that if I can teach anybody to do, is to push through those fears, push through that mind game that you play with yourself. Our mind is a terrible thing when it comes to doing something. You know, if you do it, you will have results, but getting through those fear of rejection, fear of failure, and all the stuff that comes with those phone calls, realizing that nothing bad happens. And if you want it bad enough and your why strong enough, that you will have amazing results if you have enough conversations.
That is so true. And you know, it's so close to like at one point, one of the top fears in the world was fear of public speaking, right?
Absolutely.
And probably is still. And and I can somewhat understand that. You walk out on a stage and there could be hundreds of people out there. And I still feel butterflies sometimes to this day walking out on stage.
Absolutely.
But you know, you'd think that just picking up the phone and talking to a face you can't even see would be so less intimidating, but it is so not.
It's, well, you know, the funny part about making those cold calls is like, or public speaking for that matter, like you brought up, we grow up with our parents saying, don't talk to strangers. So we get out on stage and they're all strangers and we're like, I grew up, like, why do I feel the way I do? Not knowing that our whole time growing up, we were taught not to talk to strangers. So it's one little thing that we're wired with from the very day one that we have to overcome some way, shape, or form. And it's just pushing through it. I know that I hate to say this on recording, but when I first started speaking, I would literally go gag and almost throw up before I would go on stage. And that was my little exit plan. I got to go for a second. I use the restroom. And I mean, it was so nervous. So eventually that went away, which is thank God, right?
Amen.
Thank God.
You know, I've never heard it put that way, but I love it because you're exactly right. Like, we're taught not to talk to strangers. Like, it's already ingrained in us, this stuff. And it's a certain healthy fear to that, obviously.
Absolutely.
Kids, right?
Absolutely.
But then as adults, we have nothing to fear. We're all equal. We're all,
Right.
you know, we all are humans. We all have the same emotions and stuff. And so it is funny. I've never heard that correlated that way, but it's perfect. And you know, and I like to add this to what's funny about me in front of stages is the more intimate the crowd, the more nervous I am. The larger the crowd, I'm not nervous because I feel like as a speaker, I'm going to identify with somebody in the room, and 100%. I can tell from the facial experience, you know, the facial expressions. Okay, this person's on my team, so that's okay. In tight knit groups and small groups, that's when I'm more nervous about it because the intimacy of the program. But that's interesting. I like that correlation. I think that might help people overcome that step, saying, "Oh yeah, I never thought about that. Mom told me not to talk to strangers," you know.
The other thing that I'll just add to it is a lot of people are fear of what other people are going to think about them. So the day that I let that go, and the day that I said, when I walk into a room to speak or get on a podcast, is if I can change one person's life from what I say or what I've been through, one of my stories that I've been through, to change their life in a better way, I feel like I've succeeded. I don't care about anybody else. I just care about that one person. If I can get to that one person who, I got a message this morning and said, "Hey, I really needed this message. Thank you so much." And that's all I needed for the day. The rest of the day is easy, right? Yep. So that's all I shoot for when I get in front of them. I know I can't change everybody's life. I know I can't help everybody, but if I can just change that one person, that's what it's all about.
That's so true. You know, when you said letting go, I have to say chapter 5 in this book, chapter 5 is called letting go. It's the thing you have to do first if you're going to put yourself out there is you've got to let go of several things, and the insecurity and that you feel because you don't know what other people are going to think or say about you. That is strong in people. It's a strong sense of, it's just a strong sense in someone, and it paralyzes a lot of people from moving forward.
100%.
So the next question we have for you is, you know, there's a difference between being afraid of something and overcoming it.
Yep.
A little bit of a difference, and then being bold about how you do things.
Yeah.
So sometimes they're one and the same, sometimes they're a little bit different. So what in your life, personal or professional, would you be more bold about if you could, and how would you do that?
So the one thing, and I've already done this with Agent Mastermind, is that I was doing this myself. I was learning how to connect, engage, interact, ask for the business. I'm like, all right, I want to go to another level and teach other people. When you teach other people what they should do, and if they do it, they will have better results. That's when you really have to go deep with who you are, and you really have to go deep with what you're teaching, because you can't just wing it. You can, but you're going to get found out. Like, they will find out that, hey, this guy, a lot of people teach stuff that they've never accomplished. They'll stand in front of a private jet or stand in front of a Lambo, and it's really not theirs. They just found one to stand in front of and do a video in front of, when they really haven't earned the Lambo, but they're trying to sell a product. So being bold, I guess one thing that I'd recommend that I did is, as an agent, go teach other agents how to do a listing presentation. Go teach somebody else how to do what they should be doing, because if you're teaching something, you have to perfect it almost to a T before you can teach it. So that caused me to research and like really dig deep with I did a listing presentation class. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go find out how many listing presentations are on the web, how many PowerPoints there are, and I'm going to look at each individual one, and I'm going to go, which one do I think is the best, and then put my own little flavor into each one of them. And that's where there's being bold, is perfecting something, but helping other people perfect it as well.
I love that definition, because a lot of times our confidence just comes from actually accomplishing something.
Right.
Like even doing it once, right, means you can repeat it. If you can do it once, you can repeat it. Most of the time, unless it's just luck, as Michael says.
That's right. Yeah. You got to repeat it for it to be a success. But hey, you know, what I like about that too, though, that concept of that is right along with the practice of it, of what you get, because, you know, we should be living and breathing the real estate business constantly, because we enjoy the real estate business. Yep. Tanya and I talk a whole lot about you know, everybody wants to go from A to Z. So do I, right? But everybody else, all our clients, customers, live somewhere between B and Y. Right. And we really got to enjoy the journey with people and our own journey, right? You got to love looking at houses and crunching numbers and
buy a house yourself.
You got to buy a house yourself. You got to go through. Yeah, for sure.
I think an easier way to do it, if you don't want to go teach, is to get an accountability partner and practice. Mm-hmm. You know, do role playing. You know, practice. You know, and that's I was teaching my kids. I told my son, I'm like, hey, try this. It's super hard. Have a conversation with yourself and overcome your own objections with looking in the mirror. It's the hardest thing on planet Earth to do. It's really hard. But if you're doing it with somebody else, it's uncomfortable doing it with somebody else, because you have to be real, and it's short and sweet, and you get to the point, and they can critique you and you can critique them and go back and forth. And every day, like I do it almost every day with one of my business partners. We get a situation. It's very few situations I get into where I don't have a way to overcome the objection, because we've done it for so many years. Every single time we get one, we jump on the phone. Hey, how would you overcome this? Oh, that's good. I'm going to add this to it, and then I'm done. And so practice, practice, practice. Always be looking for the no. And there's so much money in the no's, and we can talk about that later.
Yes, for sure. Well, that'll segue us into your 3 laws that you've learned that have helped you become very successful. You want to share those to us?
Absolutely. Yeah. So the title of the 3 laws is the more you prospect, the luckier you get. So I'm going to talk about how to get lucky. How about that?
Love it.
As a real estate agent. So the first law is the universal law of need and desperation. The second law is the 30-day rule. And the third law is the law of replacement. And they kind of all go together. And it's going to get a little emotional, but it's going to, it takes people to a place where they really don't want to be, therefore having results that they really shouldn't have or don't want to have. So I'll just start with the first law, if you don't mind, the law of need and desperation.
Okay.
Is that cool? So the more you need, this is kind of crazy. So I've listened to a ton of audiobooks, and I've lived through all this myself, and I didn't really know why I was having these feelings and emotions and results. So the more you need something, the less likely you will be to get it. And there's a bunch of reasons why. Desperation magnifies failure. Your agents or LOs, depending on no matter what business you're in, the more desperate you are, they can feel it from a mile away. Yep. Here's the sad part. It taps into the downside of the law of attraction. So we want to attract people to us. We want to build relationships. We want to get business from or do business with them. And the desperation or need repels them. So you never get a chance. You never have a chance. And so here's the scary part. What you focus your thoughts on, you're likely to get. So let me give you an example. If you know you got to make this, you got to build this many relationships, you have to close, let's just say you have to go right to it. You have to close this many deals in the month of whatever month it is. And if you don't close that deal, something bad's going to happen. You're going to not be able to make your payment, not be able to feed your kids, not be able to make your house payment. Whatever you focus on is what actually is going to happen with the need and law in the desperation part, that's scary when you think about it. So you actually get what the result will be if you don't accomplish these things. And so so that's what your focus is on, instead of prospecting, and then I'll show you how the 30-day rule plays into this. So another sense of desperation is actions, your tone of voice, your body language. Like, I don't know if you guys ever done this or not, but you have to hire a body language coach, which you probably have done. It's the most coolest thing I've ever done, and it's so fun. So I won't get into that, but your body language changes, your tone changes, your words change, everything changes. So, and it's just out of desperation. So people can sense that. You become emotional and tend to make poor decisions, leaving you stressed and always trying to dig out of a hole. Sad, right? Yep. So that's the desperation. So people go, Scotty, well, okay, you just said the worst. How do you get out of it? Well, you got to spend the next 30 days making calls and prospecting so that you eventually get out. It doesn't happen. People, they think it's going to happen overnight. I'm going to feel good after 2 days of making phone calls, or I made 10 calls today. Man, Scotty, nothing good happened. I'm like, I always go back to the 30-day rule. What'd you do 30 days ago? What'd you do 60 days ago? If somebody had a bad month in, say, February, what did you do in November? 99.999% of the time, your November, you did very little prospecting, if any. And if you want to talk about December, holidays, this last Christmas and New Year, we're right in the middle of a week, right? Christmas Eve, Tuesday, Christmas Wednesday, New Year's Eve, Tuesday, New Year's Day, Wednesday. Everybody's like, yeah, I'll get to it. And you get into a funk where you don't actually do anything and you don't prospect. And the results happen 90 days later. And the window is so far apart, you don't realize what happened. Like, man, I just lost my mojo. I just lost it. Something bad happened.
If you ever let up in that prospecting, you're going to see a dip somewhere in that next 90 days.
Yep.
Correct. 100%.
No question about it.
Yeah, it's easy to, it's funny. So I love testing stuff like this. So the Friday after Christmas, like in between Christmas and New Year's, the one day you think everybody would be chilling off, like doing something with family, hanging with family, whatever, I had my best day of the whole year with conversations and opportunities on that day. I was like, I'm like, this is crazy. Why is this happening? And then I thought to myself, I'm like, here's why it happened. Nobody else was working. They were actually off and they were answering their phones. So they were chilling. They were tired of chilling because of Christmas Eve, Christmas, family over, like, dude, I need a break. I need to get back in I need to talk to somebody, you know? So I was like, I had the most conversations that day, not knowing that the reason I had the most was because everybody was like kind of chill and not working.
Isn't it interesting? You know, our best month we've had since BrandFace has been in existence was January of this year, 2020.
Isn't that crazy?
And it's because we stayed true to the prospecting, to putting out the content, to doing everything that we committed to do when we started last year. We kept it up every single month, every single week, every single day. And it reaps its rewards. And over time, you see that graph go up and to the right. There's no question about it.
Absolutely. So for myself and my company, we've had more success January, February, March than we did every single month. We had more success than all of 19, because in October, we kicked it into gear. We all jumped on the right bus, in the right seats. We're all staying in our lanes, and we worked our butts off. October, November, December. January, record month. Just February, record month. March is going to be another record month. So it's like what I'm saying is 100% true. You just have to break through and put in the time and put in those 30 days.
Yes.
Sure do.
So how do you get out of this? Yeah. So how do you get out of the slump? You have to, every time I talk to somebody, man, I had a bad month. I'm like, bro, you got to put in 30 days. You got 30 days before you're going to start seeing results again, you know? And in our business, in the real estate business, in the mortgage business, it's a lot faster to recover because I can call my past database and get some really fast traction. Like I can get a couple refis right now with rates so good. But other businesses, if you stop prospecting, it's going to take longer to recover.
Right.
Exactly. And then I want to finish with the law of replacement. So what are your numbers? A lot of people don't realize or have never done what their numbers are. And so if you go, all right, I want to close 5 transactions a month, how many people do I need in the pipeline that I'm currently talking to close those numbers? And like, I don't think people realize, and like when I did this with a buddy of mine, we were talking about this, and we were talking about loan officers calling agents. And we're like, if you call 30 agents, and our average is 30, 12, 5. So we call 30 agents for a 12-week period. We meet with 12, and we typically end up with 5 new realtor relationships. If they close, we did a number of like, they give you this many referrals and this many loans closed. We figured out that, get this, Michael and Tanya, each realtor call you make is worth $4,166 at the end of the day. It's not the 5 that you get, it's getting to the 5 and all the effort that takes place. And so it's like, what do I need to replace the pipeline that I have? When companies or LOs or real estate agents get slow, it's because they stop doing the activities that they did to get to where they were busy. Therefore, go back to law of need and desperation. Oh crap, I need more deals. I need more listings. I need more buyers. I need more refis. I need more purchases. The emotional part kicks in. The law of attraction goes away. Like all this emotional stuff happens that we don't even know about. So we stop prospecting because we're depressed. Like, it ain't working today. I'm going to stop. I'm going to go play on Facebook or build a website or redo my Facebook page. Instead of just busting through those phone calls and putting more people into your pipeline, which just means making more phone calls.
And you've covered so much here. Literally, we could drill down to each one of those like a 5-episode series.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I can tell you that all of those have one word in common that Michael consistently preaches, and he's pretty much known for it now. It's consistency, for goodness sake. Consistency. Right. It's everything.
Yes.
And that consistency will give you that that mindfulness going into it, and that instead of focusing on what's not working and what's going to happen as a result of us not keep having people in the pipeline or making those sales, if we're consistent, we're able to consistently focus on the positives, because if you're consistent, the positives will happen.
You're gonna have amazing results. Yeah, you can't. So, and kind of wrapping this all up, just to kind of put it all into perspective, if you stop prospecting for a day, it's gonna show its face eventually. If you stop for a week, it's gonna show its face even more. If you stop for a month, it's gonna holidays and all that stuff. It's desperation's gonna set in. Your voice is gonna change. Your tone and body language is gonna change. People will sense it. You start having self-doubt. You're like, man, that was a great run. Maybe that was just luck. I got lucky, right? So I'm showing you how to keep getting lucky over and over and over and over again, right? So to get lucky over and over again, if you prospect every single day without fail, and it doesn't mean making phone calls. I want to, yes, making calls is one, social is one, face-to-face is one. There's many different ways to have connections or conversations. So it's not just like making phone calls. I do just as good on social media, which you guys are going to share on the class, but you guys are the masters of that. When you build your brand with different things, you can have conversations on social media and get amazing results with appointments and listings. I know people that live like do monster numbers just being heavy on social media. So, and then it seems hard to get back to face-to-face. You're like, man, it was so easy back like when I was busy to get more face-to-face appointments. But what you don't realize is you stop doing it, your depression sets in, everything changes. So you got to just get out of that funk and go 30 days. And if you just look, when I talk to somebody, I'm like, well, man, you're slow now. And then you go back and look, you have to be persistent, consistent. You can't ever stop no matter what the holiday is. And here's the crazy part I want to share with you guys is typically if we can help people focus on the 20% that makes them 80% of their money, I'm not saying you have to do this 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'm saying 20% of an 8-hour day is like what, 1.3 or 1.6, right? So if I work an hour and 20 minutes on pure prospecting, making calls, having conversations, my business will be unbelievable in 90 days. I can promise you. It's just how the world works. But most people, I can't get them to spend an hour and 20 minutes a month on the prospecting, right? Because of the emotions, the fear of rejection, the fear of failure. I'm not doing that. Like, it doesn't work, Scott, and all this other stuff. So it just turns into a vicious cycle. So you just have to be, if you're aware of the cycle, and you know that if you just by having conversations, doing social media, that you will bust out of this funk. And then just know that getting back into the funk is just as easy as getting out of it if you stop prospecting.
I have never heard it put that way either. That 20%, it's just been 20% of your time. I mean, if you did nothing but that, you'd be super successful.
That's all I do right now. And that's the best part. Yeah, that's the best part.
20%. That is the best part. That's fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. So, so now it comes to, I mean, you've given us 3 laws and some incredible advice. If you could all pare it down to like one thing that you would tell other business owners and entrepreneurs out there who have fears of putting themselves out there and of doing the things we've talked about today, what one piece of advice would you give them if you just pared it all down to one phrase or one sentence?
I would say, make sure you love whatever it is you're doing. Make sure you love it. Like make sure it's something that you would do without money. And if you really truly feel that passionate about it, the sales part, the prospecting part. Cause like a lot of people, I'm in real estate and we sell mortgages and we sell money and all that stuff. And I go, so I ask loan officers and real estate agents, I'm like, what do you do? Like, what do you really do? He goes, I sell homes. I change lives. I'm like, okay. I said, I look at it a little differently. I get to create memories, which is something that I would rather die with a memory than die with a regret. So I get to be part of a memory. What do you mean by that? Well, when I give somebody money for a home, they move into the home, they Christmas trees, pets, walks to school, walks to the library, like all these like family over. I get to be a part of their memory for the rest of their life. They're going to talk about that home forever, ever. We all know that. So it's not about selling money or selling the home. It's about being a part of somebody's memories, which I absolutely positively love. And if you love what you do, I don't believe it's really selling. And this is a big one that once you get to there, it's life-changing, is I don't feel sad when someone says no. I feel sad that I don't get to be a part of their memory and I don't get to help them, because I know I would if they were to listen to me and work with me.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, I can't tell you. Yeah, the number of times that, over the years that you talk to people, and not everybody comes into your program or does business with you, but each time they say no, I do feel like, because I know that the kind of person I have on the phone is a genuine, awesome person that deserves to have that success and to feel good about themselves and defined and feel good about what they're putting out there. Absolutely. And it kind of saddens me a little bit that we don't get to help them do that.
I know. So
unveil that inner
star. Get upset. Just get set. And just know that every no has a value. So for example, if it takes 10 no's to get one yes, whatever you make on the one yes, say it's $6,000 for a real estate agent, every no was $600. Every single no made you $600, because you can't get to the yes if you don't get to a no.
Yep.
That's true. That's true.
It's a beautiful thing.
I love that. I love that.
Super good way to look at it. And I've always been a huge believer that you got to love it. Like you got to do it because that's what you want to do. The money's going to follow. Everybody knows there's money in real estate. Everybody knows that's why they want to come to it. They're like, oh, I can just go to a class for 2 weeks and then I can get out and then I can be a loan officer, or I can be in the real estate business and I can make $100,000 a year. Well, yeah, you can make $100,000 a year. You can make a lot more than $100,000 a year.
Make a lot more, yeah.
Both of those businesses, right?
Yeah.
But odds of you doing it first month, not going to happen. So you got to go into it saying, I love it. And I enjoy this and I want to do it. And then you don't feel like you work, like you said.
100%. Yeah. What I do isn't work. Once you figure it out, I'm to the point now where I'm at the 1% that makes me 99% of my money, but I just try to get people to focus on the 20%. And that's just, and your why has to be strong enough, why you're doing what you're doing. And then just know that having conversations, asking for the business will lead to sales over a period of time.
Yep.
Oh, wow. I've taken so many cool nuggets out of this. And I think we're going to promote this by saying, how much is a no worth to you?
Oh man, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I like that.
For some people it's thousands, like that, like for an agent to, if you're in, Florida area, average loan is, 300,000, 3% is $9,000. And you got to, even if it's 20 no's, there's a lot of money in that no.
Right.
There's a lot in the no, because every time you get a no, you're getting closer to a yes.
Every single time.
Incredible. Yeah. That's incredible. Okay. So Scott, we love what you teach. So I want you to take this moment to tell everybody how they get in touch with you and can learn more about Agent Mastermind.
Yeah. So just, you guys want to find me, I'm sure you can just Google agentmastermind.com. It's weekly classes for real estate agents. But the cool part is I provide this to loan officers to give something of value to agents. So I'm all over the web. If you Google my name, Scott Hudspeth, first 2 pages, if you Google Agent Mastermind, we've been doing that, believe it or not, for 8 years this month. 8 years, every single Tuesday live for 8 years. So it's been a blessing to, I would have never met you guys. And that's what I love the most, is meeting rock star people like you that change lives every single day that you guys work with them. So that's why we're on the call. It's just I put myself out there, and I just, so if you guys want to get a hold of me, shoot me a private message, follow me on Facebook, follow me on LinkedIn. I'm all over the place, and look forward to hopefully meeting, you guys personally someday. And that would be very awesome. So I'm honored. Thank you so much for having me here. And I appreciate everything you guys do.
Absolutely. Well, we do you also. And we encourage everybody that'll be watching this to reach out to Scott, and his program is fantastic. And 8 years, man, that's awesome. You know, and you probably were a little bit shocked when you look back, you know, even though you keep up with numbers, you look back, you go, wow, I've been doing this 8 years.
Insane.
You know? Yeah.
It's awesome. A lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And, you know, it's like, what would have, you know, like all the regrets I would have had if I wouldn't have done that, and all the people that I wouldn't have met, and all the relationships I wouldn't have built. And just like, man, we get one life, guys. We get one life, as we all know, and it gives me chills talking about it. But man, like if I can say anything at all, don't live with regrets, live with memories. Like, put yourself out there. Whatever you want to accomplish is 100% attainable. And just know that it's not going to be easy. It's not easy to make $1 million. Maybe it's not even $1 million. Maybe just provide a lifestyle that you would ever dream of. Just put yourself out there. You won't be disappointed.
Agreed. I second that 1,000%. And hey, to all of our listeners out there and people will be watching this, you know, if you have any questions about your brand, if you want to just discuss brand, if you don't know if you have a brand, whatever, we're here to talk about that. Just like what Scott talked about. We love talking about marketing and branding for people in the entrepreneurial businesses. And you can meet with us at a 30-minute free session just by going to discussyourbrand.com. That's discussyourbrand.com.
I just wanted to say that you guys are amazing at what you do. And if you guys are doing yourself a disservice, if you don't connect with these guys, if you don't opt into that free call, I think you're crazy. If you're looking to really, truly build your brand, get noticed, get out there and have people know who you are and what you do for a living, these guys are the only ones in the industry that know how to do it. So Tanya, Michael, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We are honored to have you on, Scott. And this has been a very inspiring episode. I know there are several nuggets I took out of it, and I can't wait to put them out there and share them with everybody else. But we did actually start a Facebook group not long ago called Build Your Real Estate Brand. And it is a closed group. It's for active agents and brokers, and also mortgage professionals, loan officers, more than welcome to come into the group. You'll find access and content there that you won't find anywhere else. That's Build Your Real Estate Brand Facebook group. We have people standing by to let you in, so request away. All right. And Scott, what a pleasure. Thank you again so much. And I'll let Michael close us out with our signature close.
Yeah, folks, you know, it's all about prosperity. And we're not just talking about money here. I mean, obviously, if that's a goal of yours, we want you to go for it. We want to try to help you obtain that. But like Scott said, it may just be a certain lifestyle. That's prosperity, right? And we know here that prosperity favors the bold. So we say be bold, folks, especially with your real estate brand. And thank you, Miss Tanya.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you both. All right, we'll see you next time on Be Bold Branding.